The NBA is openly and obviously screwing the New York Knicks over, and it is very clear for the two reasons specifically why this is happening. Meanwhile, on top of this, the Knicks have somehow found ways to have bigger issues with their team in regards to this playoff series against the Detroit Pistons, and we're going to break it all down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into things as always. And if you guys are part of that 62% that's not subscribed to Knicks Digest, make sure to subscribe. We have daily New York Knicks content. You do not want to miss out on all the fun we're having on this channel. But let's jump into the video. We have a lot to discuss. The NBA is openly screwing the New York Knicks. It's not hidden at all. It's very clear what's happening. It's very clear what Adam Silver's doing. And there's multiple reasons to why they are screwing over the Knicks. Because as we know, where things stand right now, the New York Knicks are 1-1 against the Detroit Pistons in the first round of the NBA playoffs. And despite being picked by many as a series for the Detroit Pistons to get an upset on, it's not because of the New York Knicks. Or, well, not fully because of the New York Knicks, because there are certainly issues with this team. However, where things stand right now, the NBA knows what they're doing, and they're openly screwing the New York Knicks over, and it is for two glaring reasons. The first reason that we have to talk about is the fact that, look, at the end of the day, where things stand, the NBA likes their series to go as long as possible. When the New York Knicks went on a 21-0 run in Game 1, it was definitely clear who the better team was. We're not going to sit here and act like we didn't know. It was clearly the Knicks. However, you look at the next game, and the foul calls were rampant. I mean, the Detroit Pistons, at the end of the day, they shot 34 free throws. I wonder how many the Knicks shot. 19. That's a bit of a difference, wouldn't you guess, or wouldn't you say? And look, on top of that, where things stood, the Detroit Pistons had some advantages over the New York Knicks. We're not going to act like they didn't. But still, a 15 difference in free throws is absolutely absurd. When you look at it, at one point in the game when the Pistons had 14 fouls and had 20 free throws, the Knicks had 13 fouls and had 6. It was the literal margin of the game at that point was 14 points. And what happened? The Knicks were not allowed free throws. Why is that? Well, because at the end of the day, we know how Adam Silver works. He wants these series to go as long as humanly possible because this is what he was taught from David Stern in order to maximize revenue. And was he even taught it from David Stern? No, because it's not some big secret. What happened was Adam Silver has a brain, so what he did was understand the more games, the more revenue you make. So might as well give the team that just lost the game one and give them a 21-0 point run when the one team locked in. Might as well give them the 78 foul calls no matter what. Well, the New York Knicks struggled to get any single foul calls on top of that. Now, yes, Ausar Thompson fouled out, and yeah, there was one or two calls that maybe could have been taken back. I'm not going to act like there wasn't. But if Ausar Thompson's getting into foul trouble 2 games in a row, it mainly seems like he doesn't know how to guard Jalen Brunson. Does Jalen Brunson bait fouls? Of course he does. What, I'm going to sit here and act like he doesn't? Guess what? You know your favorite player out there? Whoever they might be, they do too. Brunson's just better at it. However, if you say that, people crucify you because, well, Philadelphia 76ers fans specifically cried about that and cried and cried and cried until, well, they ran out of their voice or tears. But at the end of the day, where things stand right now, what we see is people consistently complain about Jalen Brunson because he draws fouls. Well, guess what? So does every NBA player except Jalen Brunson's better at it because he's better at basketball than most of the players in the NBA. It just is what it is. I didn't make the rules. I didn't decide Jalen Brunson was this good. But regardless of this, it's evidently clear the New York Knicks have a big problem. And it's not Jalen Brunson, but it is the guy to his right, to your left in that photo. You know, Tom Thibodeau, the man who somehow found a way to get outcoached by JB Bickerstaff. Look, I've said a lot of things offline about the way that I think JB Bickerstaff coaches basketball. All I'm going to say is this. The man's coached 4 different teams and very rarely is stuck around for a long time. You get what I'm saying? A guy who coached 4 different basketball teams and quickly got not rehired by any of them. Well, we're gonna call that a good coach. Look, I'm not going to mince words. JB Bickerstaff is not a good head coach. He's just not. It's very clear that he isn't. He doesn't know how to coach a team. He doesn't know how to run sets. He does not know how to use his rotations effectively. However, at the end of the day, what happened? Well, not Adam Silver. Tom Thibodeau got outcoached. It's just frank. He got outcoached this game. Did he outcoach Bickerstaff last game? Absolutely. Does that mean Tibbs can still clearly outcoach JB Bickerstaff for the next 3 games and the Knicks could win? Of course. What happened the last time these two faced off? Did Tibbs get outcoached in game 2 and then not once again for the entire series? Yes. That all happened. It still doesn't deny the fact that JB Bickerstaff outcoached Tom Thibodeau, and Tom Thibodeau coached that game like a blind man who just got spun around in circles the entire time. We're going to act like he wasn't. We're going to act like Tom Thibodeau is not at fault here. We're going to sit here and pretend and play that game. No, he was. He evidently was. It wasn't close. It was very clear that he was at fault here. Well, let's look at the New York Knicks. Mikal Bridges couldn't hit a shot, so Tibbs kept him in no matter what. OG Anunoby was exhausted, so Tibbs continued to keep him in despite the fact that he wasn't hitting shots. Karl-Anthony Towns could barely get a look, but guess what? He played pretty well when he got his opportunities, but God forbid you drop any opportunities for him. Jalen Brunson's Jalen Brunson. You don't have to say anything else. The man's phenomenal at basketball. He did everything in his power to do so. Josh Hart did play a fine game. Rough first half. Second half was a lot better. Well, Mitchell Robinson could have played more. They could have done that. Maybe you don't play your bench 40-some-odd minutes by the end of the game when it's close. You don't run into exhausted players. Maybe you do that. Cameron Payne played really well last game. Played really well. Good thing Tom Thibodeau gave him 4 minutes. Are you kidding me? I mean, do you have to go to the brain clinic and get checked for something because 4 minutes for a guy who changed the complexion of the series in a game 1? He gave Cameron Payne 4 minutes? How do you excuse that as a head coach? You know, how do you excuse a lot of things, Tibbs, as a head coach? But how do you excuse that? How do you find an excuse for the fact that you played Payne and Shamet less than 10 minutes combined? You played Deuce a good amount, and Deuce played well. He had some bad shots, but he also played well. You played Mitch 20 minutes. The Knicks could have used more rebounding, but Mitch only played 20 minutes. Did Mitch rebound well? Yeah, he did. He had 7 rebounds in those 20 minutes. How many rebounds did the Knicks get for the game? 34. Pistons got 48. Duren played an extra 17 minutes than Mitchell Robinson. Last game, there was a 7-minute difference. This game, it was 17. We still acting like it's not this guy's fault. We're still going to play that game. That Tom Thibodeau didn't get out-coached tonight. We're still going to do that? Why? Why, when you got a guy in Karl-Anthony Towns, you know, is being guarded by none other than Tobias Harris, you know, legendary low-block defender Tobias Harris, not giving him the ball? Look, as Tommy Beer mentioned it, Cat was 4 for 5 from the floor when defended by Tobias Harris in Game 1. New York scored 17 points off Towns' post-ups in Game 1. If the Pistons tried to hide Jalen Duren on Josh Hart and have Harris check Karl-Anthony Towns, the Knicks have to make the Pistons pay by feeding Cat in the post every single time. What happened? Not that. And as Tommy Beer said, it's inexplicable. It's inexcusable that a $50 million per year All-NBA offensive force and arguably the greatest shooting big man of all time didn't get a single shot attempt in the final 18 minutes of the most important game of the season. Well, Tommy Beer's not wrong. The man on the left, on your left right here, he's wrong. I mean, frankly, what could he have been thinking? What could Tom Thibodeau have thought? Why didn't he give them any coaching advice? Why didn't he? No, I'm asking. I'm not saying this is not a rhetorical question. I'm wondering why the hell Tom Thibodeau didn't do any of this. And the only thing that comes into my mind is that he must be a bad coach if he's going to allow this. Because he got outcoached by JB Bickerstaff, who's hardly held jobs in the NBA because he's not a good head coach. Well, Tibbs just got outcoached by him. And again, this happened in Game 2 against the Cavs in 2023. Maybe Tibbs responds and coaches 3 straight games that are excellent and everything works out. I wouldn't be that shocked. I really wouldn't. I don't think it's possible for Tom Thibodeau to coach as badly as JB Bickerstaff. But maybe it is. Who knows anymore? Jalen Brunson played great. Over 2 playoff games, he's averaging 35.5 points, 2.5 rebounds, 7.5 assists, shooting 35% from 3. Everyone else, not so much. Karl-Anthony Towns shooting 20% from 3. Mikal shooting 23%. No Giannonobi shooting 25%. Now, OG had a good game regardless. Towns probably would have had a good game if they gave him the ball. They didn't. They didn't let him take advantage of posting up against Tobias Harris. Mikal just hasn't shot well. This is infuriating. It really is. Or are we going to act like it's not? Like they're not getting called out and screwed over by these referees. Like Adam Silver doesn't relish in letting the New York Knicks, the other reason, stay a joke. The Knicks fans got too used to watching the New York Knicks get made fun of. And now it's become something that the NBA sees a profit in. I guarantee it. Most importantly, they're not coached by a good enough coach to counteract it. You have one move this offseason if you're Leon Rose. You do. Even if he outcoaches JB for the next 3 games. 2 games in the NBA playoff history, you've been outcoached by JB Bickerstaff. I mean, friggin' find a cat in a bodega. Not Karl-Anthony Towns, like not the bodega cat thing. Go to a bodega, pick up a calico cat or whatever, and stick him on the friggin' bench. He's not going to get outcoached, or she, because I don't think calico cats are ever men. But I don't know. That's what It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia told me. So, at the end of the day, I'll never forgive Tom Thibodeau for getting outcoached by Bickerstaff in 2 games. I mean, if I got outcoached by JB Bickerstaff and never watched basketball again, I'd be embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for the Knicks tonight. What a joke. Look, guys, I'm usually more positive. So, if you enjoy the content, usually like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. But I'm so embarrassed by Tom Thibodeau to get outcoached by Bickerstaff. It's the most disgusting thing I've seen in a while. We'll be back. They'll win the series. Go Knicks.